I'd have him run the
I
country
like
clubs.
Dan. All right.
Republican Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky, who tweeted to Donald Trump, "It's a swamp, not a hot tub. We both came here to drain it." Hashtag swamp care polls 17%.
So Thomas Massie,
Sad.
are you scared? Are you shaking in your boots because Steve Bannon says that the jet fuel of Air Force One is going to come to your district and be clarifying to both you and
Are you shaking
the
in your
teeming
shoes?
masses below Air Force One?
Hey.
How scared are you?
Are you all right?
They can bring, you know what, he can bring Air Force One, Marine One, and Amtrak One. It's not going to change what I'm going to do. My constituents sent me here. They sent me to D.C., frankly, to drain the swamp. And we were excited, you know, conservatives were excited when we heard Donald Trump was coming to help us drain the swamp. But now he's taking advice from the swamp creatures.
Yep.
And so you talk about this bill. Only a 17% approval rating for this bill. You're back in your district. Are people coming up to you weeping in the street saying, why didn't you support the 17% solution? Like, are you catching grief for not supporting this bill?
No, it has a 9% approval rating in my district. So, you know,
Wow.
maybe 1 in 11 support this bill, and it's only because Donald Trump is supporting it. But he's burning political capital with every tweet that attacks the guys that came to Washington, D.C. to drain the swamp.
But Donald Trump
brand.
has said that he is going to war against you and the Freedom Caucus in 2018. What's your response?
Yeah, well, look. You know, I added up the numbers. If he goes to war against conservative Republicans and Democrats, he'll never get to 218 in the House. Like, you've got to do the math. You've got to get to 218, and there are at least 40 or 60 conservatives in the House. And, you know, if you got 180 Democrats, that's 240. You've lost. You're going to have to work with somebody.
Now, you're not a member of the Freedom Caucus, but obviously he's lumping everybody that opposed him together there. Do you see Steve Bannon's attack against Republican members as ultimately backfiring?
I think Donald Trump, to the extent he's taking advice from the establishment and attacking the anti-establishment in Washington, D.C., I think that's bad advice. I don't know who's giving him that advice or if he's just doing this on his own. But look at the Freedom Caucus and other conservatives like me. We raise about 1/10 as much money in Washington, D.C. as the people who are giving Donald Trump advice from the House right now. We've been there about 1/3 as long as the people in Washington, D.C. that he's listening to. So we talk about the establishment, and who knows what the establishment is, but when they're taking all the PAC money and they've been there forever, maybe those aren't the people he intended to work with when he got to Washington, D.C., but we can't figure out why he doesn't want to drain the swamp.
Congressman, it's Walter Isaac. I just have a simple question. Do you actually think that Donald Trump is a deeply conservative person?
You know, I don't get caught up in that. In fact, on my way here, I was just thinking my objection to this bill is logical, not ideological. If you think about it, if you remove the individual mandate, but you keep the mandate for pre-existing conditions, healthy people are going to quit buying insurance and the prices are going to spiral upward, even more so than under Obamacare. So whether you're ideological or logical, you should be against this bill. And that's why most of my constituents are, I think.
All right, Congressman Thomas Massie, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.